Hi everyone, it's Vicky from createafashionbrand.com and fashionservices.com. We're doing our 5-minute fashion brand video this week. Any question that you want to ask me, I will answer for you. And this week I got another email from Anna in Spain, and she asks, do I need fabric testing? Okay, so firstly, what is fabric testing? Fabric testing is it's a scientific, lots of different scientific processes, and it doesn't matter what you're making, whether that's bags, accessories, clothing, whatever fabric that you use goes to a laboratory to be tested for different things. Now, depending on what that fabric is, they can add in more tests or less tests. So for example, if it's water resistant, they'll do a water resistancy test. If it's knitwear, they'll hang it up and see how much the knitwear kind of what's called drops, so how much it kind of stretches out on a hanger over a period of time. And they'll do lots and lots of different testing, but it's very kind of scientific, and you get this report back giving you grades. And there's usually a grade between 1 and 5, and if it's, they'll tell you whether it's very good at being water resistant, or it doesn't stretch, or it does stretch, or whatever it is. Now, there are different systems around the world depending on the country you're in, and different standards for those countries to things that you have to pass. So the usual thing is 3, because that's kind of in the middle. You don't want to be, if you're selling a water resistant product, if it lets water in, then it's not going to have a very good result. So the country will say, well, these are our standards, you can't bring it into this country. Some countries are more specific than others. In Asia, for example, the criteria for it is a little bit lower than the US. The US has some of the most stringent, actually. Now, in terms of whether you need it, this is where it kind of comes down to a very tricky thing. Legally, you don't have to do fabric testing. However, what fabric testing does is it's done independently from your factory. You can't have your factory do it. It has to go to a third party. And it's an independent report that will cover you. So if you say your product's water resistant and a customer complains and tries to sue you because the water's come in and it's wrecked their best Gucci dress or something, and they try to sue you as a company, you can say, well, hang on a minute, I've got this fabric report. This is what it says. I know that the fabric is water resistant, and the water got on your dress some other way. If you don't have that report, you can't really prove it or not prove it, and you can't do it after the time, really. Now, the thing with fabric testing is that there's not many people who actually know about it unless you're actually in the fashion industry. So for your average consumer, the average person who's going in and buying your products, they won't know what fabric testing is, okay? So when you buy things that are like handmade or bespoke or something like along those lines, you've got a little Etsy store or something like that, customers aren't expecting those things to be fabric tested or product tested. They accept the fact that these things are handmade, and it is what it is. So it really comes down to, and they're not, I should say, fabric testing is not cheap, especially if you've got to do lots. It will protect you from any problems, any lawsuits, any issues on that front. And it obviously claims that you make. You can't just claim that something's water resistant unless you know for a fact that it is. So it will protect you against all those legal issues. Whether someone is going to sue you or not is really down to your choice. And if you're wholesaling your products, so you're selling it into a department store, those stores will also want to see, a lot of the time, the fabric reports, because they'll have their own standards. If it's higher than the country you're in, they will want to see that it's passed those tests. So it's a difficult question. Do you need it? I would always say yes, because it protects you against all kinds of problems, allows you to sell to more people across the world. It also flags up any issues with your fabric, especially if you're claiming something like, I don't know, you're doing swimwear. You don't want the colour to run if you're going in the water, things like that. So it will test everything. So it will guard against lots of issues that you might have. Do you technically need it? That depends on the country that you're in. I would assume, I haven't checked for the EU actually, but I would think that they do. All the companies I've ever worked for in the EU get fabric testing done regardless. So they do it anyway, so I've never really had to look at that. But I would assume you might want to be safer than sorry on that. Okay, so if you've got a question for me that you want me to answer, please leave me a comment on our main fashion brand video. If you've got a comment about this video, you want to ask me another question about this one, then please leave it below. And I will see you next week.